My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting the latest update from Kuya Silver, which trades on the Canadian Stock Exchange under the symbol KUYA. And joining me is Kuya's President and CEO, David Stein. David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Megan. Thanks for having me on.
So before we jump into this week's news, could you give us an overview of the company?
Sure. So we're best known for our Bethania silver project in Peru. It's a past-producing silver mine, recent past-producing silver mine that we're putting back into production. And so when we sort of look at our assets on this dual track value creation, we've got Bethania both on the development side in the yellow and on the exploration side in the red. So we've had a lot of exploration success there in the last few years in terms of expanding the known mineralization, not only the initial resource, but the known vein mineralization that comes right to surface there. We've found a lot more veins and done a lot of great sampling to expand the footprint of mineralization there. And we've done some good work on the permitting side as well, getting a new mill permitted in Peru. So again, that's probably what we're, it's definitely our flagship project. It's the most advanced project in the company. However, we have been working on a second project as well in Northern Ontario, in the Cobalt, historic Cobalt mining district, which is known for its silver. And we first went in there in 2021. And then now about 2 years later, we continue to consolidate a bigger and bigger land package over areas that we think are prospective for new silver deposits and mines to be found. We've had a recent big discovery there, which we're really excited about as well. So that's becoming, I would say, a more important part of our pipeline. Now that we've sort of proven in a way that we have mineralization there, it's looking really promising.
And the company has provided a few updates from your Silver Kings project, where a few weeks back you announced native silver in one of your drill holes at the Campbell-Crawford target area. And now with the acquisition of new prospects from a Canadian Silver Hunter, could you run us through the project for those that are new to the area?
Sure. So over about a 30-kilometer north to south area, I'll focus on 3 zones and then end up in the Silver Center area, which is where our new acquisition is. But sort of starting in the north, you've got actually the town of Cobalt is sitting about here, and you can see where our properties are located in the green and blue. So most of the work that we've done to date has been in this northern area. Now zooming in on the right hand slide on this diagram here, you have the Kerr Lake area, which was richly mined, a rich historic mining area, kind of a subset of the bigger cobalt mining camp that produced about 60 million ounces, mostly from 2 mines, Kerr Lake and the Crown Reserve, which together those 2 mines almost produced 50 by themselves, and then a bunch of smaller mines produced silver as well. So we have talked about in the past this North Drummond target over here, where we've hit mineralization in the past, just under the lake. We're very excited about that. We think it's a new area, sort of that was missed by previous mining, and we intended to do some drilling there. We did a few holes. However, we were fortunate that we moved up to another target just about a kilometer to the north of Kerr Lake, so up here, which we call Campbell-Crawford. It's a historic prospect that never had any mining on it, but we had the hypothesis that they just didn't drill deep enough, right. And we drilled deeper and we hit the visible silver mineralization that you mentioned earlier. We've kept drilling, and I like what we're seeing there with the other holes as well. So that ended up being more the focus of this Q1 drilling program, and we're very excited to report the rest of the results when they come in, in a few weeks or maybe a month from now. We're still, as of today, finishing logging the core, splitting it, taking the samples for assaying, etc. So But we're seeing a lot of good stuff in the core. We're really excited about that. Now, moving down moving down south, a little further south, so to the southern end of our claims and our property area, there's this Silver Center area, which was another separate kind of mining area within the broader Cobalt camp. The acquisition that we just announced encompasses really the two biggest producers, historic producers, Keeley Frontier, which ended up kind of merging and becoming the same mine. So it's sometimes referred to as Keeley Frontier, and produced just under 20 million ounces of silver, over 3 million pounds of cobalt. And, there's been some drilling in the last 10 years where additional vein mineralization was hit. However, it was not really followed up because they were really looking more for, a primary cobalt deposit. And so some of these high-grade silver veins are, we think they're worth following up on. That's been a secret to our success in the northern area as well, is following up on veins, and then you can find where the better traps and better structures for the mineralization are. So that's sort of where we're at. Let's look at a map here. So this is the southern area. The green properties we already had, but the purple, brown, blue, and orange are the new acquisitions. And you can see the irregularly shaped ones. Those are old mining claims and leases, which go back, 100 years plus. And so we were able to acquire those. And I think that's where, as you can see with the veins that are mapped on surface there, the bulk of the mineralization, historic mining, is covered in our claims now that we have, our patents, claims, and leases. There's an old saying in the mining business, and it applies to any commodity, the best place to look for a mine is in the shadow of a headframe. So here we have, some historic mines very basically right on our property, and we think there's excellent potential, 100 years later, to relook at this in a bit of a new light with some of the information that we've learned with our success further north, like at Campbell-Crawford and North Drummond. And we can apply those same things we've learned to this area here and make new discoveries.
So you're sort of getting into it already, but yesterday you announced the acquisition of more land as part of the larger package, but this time towards the southern part of the project. Can you discuss the area of the project and history behind the prospect?
Sure. So it's about 30 kilometers south of the town of Cobalt. And it was actually a town called Silver Center, Ontario. There's nothing there right now, so it's kind of a ghost town, I guess. But it was a significant producer back in the 1910s, 20s, 30s, and the biggest producer in the area was the Keeley Frontier mine. Which started off as two mines and then connected underground to become one mine. So that produced about 20 million ounces, over 3 million pounds of cobalt as well. And we like the area. We think that there's potential for more mineralization. There's been exploration in this area done sort of here and there, over the last 10, 20 plus years. And some really interesting, really good intercepts have been hit, both for silver and cobalt. So we think, we want to go back and interpret all the data that we have and use what we've learned with the success with Campbell-Crawford and North Drummond and try and find some new targets here.
And this is a fair distance away from Kerr, but in the same property package, similar to Campbell-Crawford, are you looking for these high-grade veins that would have been historically targeted by earlier miners?
Yeah, so the big thing that connects this area with the Cobalt town, and all the mines further to the north, is really the rock assemblage, which includes the Nipissing diabase. It's pervasive, and it goes all the way down to Silver Center and even further south than that. And so, as I think I mentioned in previous interviews, but The best mines in the camp have always been found right at the contact of the Nipissing diabase, either above or below it. And so we have that same environment down here in the Silver Center area, where we've got the Nipissing diabase, we've got the unconformities or the contacts with the rocks immediately above and below. And we've got structures as well that seem to be important also in sort of concentrating the fluids in the veins into a smaller area, which is obviously better for mining. So we call those the vein clusters. So when we do get hit a zone, we expect to hit multiple veins that are all sort of close together. And that, again, that's what we see further to the north. That's what you see here. You can even see the historic mining looks like a vein cluster here. And that's what we're looking for again as we explore, further to the west, for example, would be one of the target areas.
And before we let you go, David, what are the next steps here at Silver Center?
So I think the next steps for us is to synthesize all the data that we have. We have looked at this area in the past. You can see the green claims we already had. So we have been here. We know the area really well, but we're really excited to be able to sink our teeth into these new properties that are a bit more closer. They're a bit closer to the historic mining, and therefore a little easier, I think, to explore and to get some joy from the drilling than sort of going off, several kilometers away, where you're really looking for a brand new, kind of brand new discovery outside of the Silver Center area. So I think that's what we're looking to do next, and I think probably our focus this year will be still, Campbell-Crawford, North Drummond. Those areas are further advanced and obviously giving us really nice intercepts. However, I would imagine we'll be able to do some exploration in the Silver Center area later this year.
All right. Well, thanks again, David. This is a very exciting development for Kuya. We look forward to chatting with you again soon.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thanks.